front of you, you can see that 12 squared is equal to 144. So that would be 144. And then 3 to the negative 2, when we do these little training sessions, 3 to the 0 is 1, 3 to the first is 3, 3 to the negative 1 is 1/3, so 3 to the negative 2 would be 1/9. It's not a negative number, it's a fraction. Simplify, so 18 divided by 6, that would be 3, but since the 18 is larger, the 3 would be on the bottom, and that would be a 1/3 if you looked at it like that. But notice, there's only one with a 3 on the bottom, so I'm thinking it's going to be B. We'll see. So when I divide like bases, I subtract exponents, and the fourth power is more powerful, so that would be m cubed on top. So I have that accurate and that accurate. And then 5 minus 3, that would be m squared on top. So yes, it's choice B. Another simplified problem, I can simplify this inside the parentheses first. So a cubed divided by a to the first, we subtract those exponents, so that would be 3 minus 1 would be a squared times b squared. Now there's no value on the bottom, raised to the third power. This is power to a power, so that's going to be 2 times 3. So a to the 6th, 2 times 3, b to the 6th, on the top, not on the bottom. So power to a power, we're going to look at this digit first. Negative 3 squared is going to equal 9. And then x squared is going to be x to the 4th. And then y cubed squared is going to be y to the 6th. Power to a power, we multiply that exponent times that power. This is a power of 1 to a power of 3. X to the first to the third is 1 times 3. That's going to give us x cubed. Y to the 4th to the third, that's going to give us y to the 4 times 3 is y to the 12th. Now, when we multiply like bases, we are going to add the exponents. So my answer will have a positive 9 in it, so I'm kind of done. I don't need to go any further. But 4 plus 3, that's going to give us positive 9, x to the 7th, and then y times y, 6 plus 12 is 18. 9x to the 7th, y to the 18th. Factor completely, there's no leading coefficient. We could look at the answers to see if we could work backwards, but I'm going to actually factor it. So x times x equals x squared. Two numbers that multiply together that equal 12. So 12 divided by 1 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12 divided by 3, well, that's 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So those are the only factors of 12. I have to see which pair would actually make it to reach a 7. So 3 and 4 can add up to equal 7. So I'm going to put 3 and 4. Now notice the 4 is larger than the 3. So the larger of these two numbers gets the middle symbol. And the middle symbol is minus. So x minus 4 is going to be one of my answers. And now to figure out what this symbol is, what's a negative times a positive? That's a negative. So it's x minus 3, x minus 4. Now let's take a look. What's negative 3 times negative 4? Positive 12. That's another way to check it out really quickly. For this one, we're going to want to look at our list of cubes. So we're going to rewrite it as two perfect cubes. So that's x cubed minus what cubed equals 125. That would be 5. And then we're going to use SOAP. SOAP stands for same, opposite, always positive. Same, opposite, always positive. So I'm going to put a small parentheses underneath the original. And the sign is going to stay the same. Then change to the opposite of negative. And then always positive in the back. The x falls down, the 5 falls down. Now to figure out what goes in this spot up front of this trinomial, we take that x and we multiply it by itself. That would give us x squared. The middle spot would be x times 5. That would translate as 5x. And then the back spot would be 5 times 5. And that would be 25. They all have a positive in the back end, so it's not going to be able to eliminate stuff on that tactic. So let's see. Minus. I'll have a minus up front. Oh, this one has a square, so it can't be a. Minus, plus, plus. Minus, plus, plus. Minus, oh, it can't be this one. Minus, plus, plus. Has to have a 5x in the front. I'm sorry, in the middle. This one does not. It has to be choice B. Factor completely. So these aren't perfect squares, but I notice that's 2 and that's divisible by 2. So if I factor out the GCF of 2, that would give us 2 times a to the 4th minus 16. And see how these problems give us a little clue there, but it says factor completely. So this isn't factored completely. I could rewrite this as a squared times a squared equals a to the 4th, and then 4 times 4 equals 16, plus or minus. Don't forget to bring down that 2. We can factor this one more time. So notice this one here isn't our final answer either, because we can factor that difference of squares. It's going to be a plus 2, a minus 2. And the a squared plus 4 is prime underneath the real numbers. So minus plus, no, it's going to be choice D, factored completely. Factor and solve. So after we factor, we want to set it equal to 0. So let's set up our parentheses. X times x will equal x squared. Now we need numbers that multiply to equal 24 that add to equal 2. So 24 divided by 1, 24 divided by 2, 24 divided by 3, 24 divided by 4. So 24 divided by 1 is 24. That doesn't reach 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 6 and 4 will reach that middle number of 2. So I'm going to place my 4 and my 6, and notice 6 is much larger than 4. So our middle sign will go with the 6, the larger number. Now to figure out what this sign is, we do a positive times a negative is a negative. There's our two factors. Now we have to set each factor equal to 0. This is called the ZPP, the zero product property. So if I let x minus 4 equal 0, x is going to equal 4. If I let x plus 6 equal 0, I subtract over to 6, x equals negative 6. So there's our answer, negative 6 and 4. Find the solutions. Now factoring this one's a little tricky. I want to do it two ways. I'm going to factor it first. And I have a couple of techniques on factoring. Different people do it different ways. The way I find most beneficial would be to rainbow this 2 and this negative 3. That would give us a negative 6. And then we'd ignore that 2 for a little while. That would give us x squared plus 5x minus 6. And then I can factor this. And the 6 is a little tricky because when I have the 6, the numbers that can multiply together to equal 6 that add up to equal 5 are both 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. They both work. So let's go ahead and do x and x. Let's see here. It's got to be negative 6 and positive 5. So 1 and 6. The 6 is bigger, so we'll get the positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. Not done. You have to ask me, what do I do about that 2? And here's what we do about that 2. We bring it down and put it underneath this and this. So this will simplify to x plus 3. This won't simplify, so we throw that 2 out in front. So that gives us 2x minus 1. So if we're setting both of these equal to 0 for their zero product property, x would equal negative 3. So I have three choices that have x equals negative 3. A, B, or D. Now if I set this equal to 0, 2x minus 1 equals 0. 2x equals 1. X equals 1 half. So I have x equals negative 3 and 1 half. Choice D. Let me show you another way. Since it's multiple choice, and most of the answers have a negative 3 in it, can't I just do synthetic? I'll put negative 3 in the backwards box, bring down the 2, bring down the 5, bring down the negative 3. Let's see what happens. 2 plus 0 is 2, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, 5 minus 6 is negative 1, negative 3 times negative 1 is negative, or positive 3, that gives me a remainder of 0. So that means negative 3 is the solution. So what does this mean? This means 2x minus 1 equals 0. So 2x equals 1, x equals 1 half. So we could have done it that way as well to get choice D. Find the solutions. This one's a little hectic. What I would do first is get everything over on one side. So 7x squared minus 2x equals 0. I would drag out the GCF of x. And notice, x times 7x is 7x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. And if I use ZPP, zero product property, set x equal to 0, I'm done, x equals 0. That's going to be my only choice. Answer choice is x equals 0. Then let's continue on. If 7x minus 2 equals 0, 7x equals 2, x equals 2 sevenths. Systems of equations. One technique would be to plug in 8 and 4. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 4 is 28. Does 28 equal 20? No. So it can't be choice A. 4, 8. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 8. So 12 plus 8, yeah, that equals 20. Let's try the next one. So if we plug in a 4 here and an 8 here, 4 plus 8 equals 12. So it would have to be choice B. The other way to do it is the way they design it, and that would be to use elimination. So I'd multiply the bottom one by a negative. So the top one would remain the same, 3x plus y equals 20. Negative x, because I distribute the negative. Negative y, because I distribute the negative. Equals negative 12, because I distribute the negative. 3x's minus 1x is 2x. Elimination is going to equal 8. 20 minus 12 is 8. That's going to give us x equals 4. That's the only solution where x equals 4. Again, you can solve the system by using elimination, substitution, or plugging in these values. So I'm going to do elimination. I'm going to multiply the top equation by that 3 and the bottom equation by that 2. Now, using my observation skills, 2 and 3 are opposites right now, so that's why I kept the signs positive for this. So 3 times 3 is 9x, 3 times 2 is plus 6y, 3 times 29, I have to do some arithmetic, so that would be 27, 6 plus 2 would be 87. 2 times 2 is 4x, 2 times negative 3, there it is, my elimination factor, negative 6y, is equal to negative 2 times negative 11, negative 22. Let's see what happens. 9x and 4x is 13x. Elimination is equal to 87 minus 22. I believe that is 65. So my answer is going to be positive when I divide both sides by 13. So I can get rid of negative 5 and negative 7. So it could either be 5 or 7 for x. So let's try 5 times 13. I think that's actually 5. Let's see. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 65. So this is going to equal 5. It has to be choice A. X equals 5. Tricky. A couple of things we can do. First thing we can do is find the y-intercept for each of these. That might eliminate some answers. So to find the y-intercept, I'm going to hide 2x. So 6 divided by 3y, notice that would give you a little tiny equation, 3y equals 6. So y would equal 2. So one of my equations goes through 0, 2. It can't be choice A. It could be choice C. It looks like it could be choice B. And it could be choice D. So let's do our elimination thing here. Let's hide that. So that would give us negative y equals 3. So if I solve that for y would equal negative 3. So it goes through 0, 2, and 0, negative 3. This one goes through 0, negative 3 here. This one does not go through 0, negative 3. This one does not go through 0, negative 3. However, this one does go through 0, negative 3. So the only choice I could possibly have would be that one. There are other techniques. You could also do the slope is opposite of A over B. So this slope is negative. You could do the slope opposite of A over B. So this slope is positive 3. So one has a negative slope and a positive slope. These slopes are both positive. It can't be A. These slopes are both negative. It can't be C. This one's positive, this one's negative. This one's negative, this one's positive. So again, it could be choice B or D. And then we use our y-intercepts to lock it in. 15% of 18%, you go 2 to the left to write it as a decimal. And I'm multiplying this. Of means multiply. Times 18. So let's see. 5 times 8 is 40. Old school algorithm. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. 0, 17, 270. How many decimals do I have up top? 2. So I have 2 decimals down here. So my answer should be 2.7. Be careful. 40% of 25. So 0.40 times 25. I'm going to rewrite this as 0.4 times 25. So 4 times 25 is 100. How many decimal places do I have? 1. So I come over 1 place. It should be 10. 40% of 25 is 10. Sometimes they give us a little calculator on these. Sometimes they don't. Solve for x. This is called cross multiplying. So what I'm going to have to do is wrap these up and cross multiply. So that's going to give me 12 times x plus 2 is equal to 6 times x minus 1. Different people do this different ways. 12x plus 24, distribute the 12, is equal to 6x minus 6. I subtract 6x from both sides first. 6x plus 24 equals negative 6 is left over. This eliminates. So now I'm going to minus 24 from both sides. 6x equals negative 30. Divide both sides by 6. My answer is negative 5. Divide. So if I'm allowed to, I would always prefer to do synthetic over long division. So I'm going to put the opposite of what's on the bottom in the backwards box. Then I'm going to write down my coefficients. 1, 5, and negative 24. I'm going to put that 3 in the backwards box. 1, 3, 8. 3 times 8 is 24. So my remainder is 0. So what does this mean? This means 1x plus 8 So x plus 8 is my quotient. That's my answer. Evaluate x equals 1. I could do synthetic, or I could just plug in 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Minus 4 over 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Ooh, so that's negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6 over negative 3. That should equal positive 2. Let's see what happens if I did synthetic. So if I did synthetic, it would be 4 in the backwards box. One plus 0 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. So after I simplify it, it would equal x plus 1. So x plus 1 is what happens after I divide that. And now I plug in the 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. All right, negative, minus, over, C. A is negative 1/2, so I have to put a negative 1/2 in here. B is negative 3, so I have to put a negative 3 in here. C is 1/6, so I have to put a fraction down here. Let me simplify. A negative and a negative is a positive, so that's going to turn into positive 1/2. A negative and a negative is a positive, so that's going to turn into plus 3. I have a shortcut. The way to do this is the common denominator for all these numbers is 6. So I'm going to multiply each term by 6. So 6 times 1/2 is 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So 3 plus 18 is 21 over 1. Let me do it another way. A couple of ways I can do this. Negative negative 1/2 minus negative 3 all over 1/6. So this is going to turn into positive. This is going to turn into positive. 3 plus 1/2 is 3.5 divided by 1 over 6. I'm going to keep it, flip it, change it to 3.5 times 6. Let's try 6 times 3.5. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. How many decimals do I have? I have 1 decimal, so that would equal 21. Simplify, so I'm dividing by 3c squared d. I'm going to divide each term by 3c squared d, and that's d to the first. 3c squared d. So 21 divided by 3 is 7. C to the fourth divided by c squared is c squared. D to the second divided by d to the first is d to the first. Negative 6 divided by positive 3 is negative 2. C squared divided by c squared is 1. D squared divided by d to the first is d to the first. Positive 3 divided by 3 is plus 1. C squared divided by c squared is 1. D divided by d is 1. They tried to trick me with letter A. So it says simplify, and they're separated by pluses and minuses. If it's a plus, you can just ignore the parentheses. So I'm going to set up a little graphical organizer. Negative 3z squared, and notice there's no z, so plus 0z plus 3. This is plus 4z. So down here I'm going to put plus 4z minus 7. Now I have to distribute that negative. So that would be minus 6z squared minus z. A negative times a negative is plus 9. Now I'm going to combine these terms. So negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9z squared. Done. 4 minus z. 4 minus 1 is plus 3z. Then 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. Choice C. So since these signs alternate, there's not going to be a middle term. So a times a is going to give us a squared. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 5 is 25. And they're conjugates, and kind like conjugates because that means the middle is going to cancel. So it would be a squared over a squared minus 4 over 25. Quick note, thinking I got to set up upon it and upon it. So 2x minus 2x minus 1, and then 2x minus 1 again. But after I multiply 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1, that's going to generate the trinomial. So 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1, 2x minus 1. Technically we have 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be b. There's a lot of stuff in the middle. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Minus 2x plus 1. When I combine like terms, it's going to go on the top. So 4x squared goes on top. Minus 4x plus 1. Let's fill in this point. 2x times 4x squared is 8x cubed. 2x times negative 4x is negative 8x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. Negative 1 times 4x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative times negative is positive 4x. Negative times positive is negative 1. So it isn't going to end in a positive 1 or a positive 3. It's going to end in a negative 1. But notice, that would give us negative 12x squared plus 6x minus 1 with 8x cubed up front. A couple of ways to do this. The first thing I would like to do is add 6 to both sides. That would give us 2/3 x equals 8. And then I'd like to clear the fraction, so I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 3. So these 3's cancel out, and that leaves me with 2x. And then this is going to equal 3 times 8, which is 24. Some people like to eliminate the fraction first, and what they'll do is they'll just multiply the whole thing by 3. This 3 and this 3 cancel out when you do it, so that's going to give us 2x minus 18 is equal to 6. Add 18. 2x equals 24. X equals 12. So there's a couple of ways to arrive at x equals 12. This one's a lot of busy work. You can be very careful. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20x. Don't forget the variable. Is equal to 7 minus 4 plus x. Now we're going to combine like terms. We have a 7 minus 4 here on the same side. So this is going to generate 15 minus 20x is equal to 7 minus 4 is 3 plus x. I'm going to add 20x to both sides. That's going to generate 21x plus 3 is equal to 15. Subtract 3 from both sides. 12 equals 21x. Divide both sides by 21. So 12 divided by 21 is not 3. 12 divided by 21 is not negative. 12 divided by 21, let's see, if I multiply the top by 3, that would equal 12. If I multiply the bottom by 3, that would equal 21. There it is. 12 over 21 is equal to 4/7. I'm solving it for this letter x. The first thing I want to do is subtract b from both sides. That's going to give me a minus baby b is equal to baby b r x. Now the opposite of multiplying by br is dividing both sides by br. So x is going to equal a minus b over br. Choice A. Divide both sides by 4. X is going to be greater than negative 3. However, sometimes they'll ask us to graph this. So if you're given a number line, negative 3 gets an open circle. You don't fill it in because there's no line under it. And then the arrow, notice the arrow, because the x value is on the left, the arrow points to the right. So the solution set is going to go off towards the right. So if they ask you to graph it, that's what the graph would look like with an open circle at negative 3. X is greater than negative 3 is the solution. So let's distribute this negative. Now I'm going to subtract 2 first. I'm going to subtract 2. So that'll give us negative 5y minus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 16. I could get rid of the negatives right now by dividing both sides by negative 1, but I'm not going to. I'm going to distribute it because that's how most people would do it. Negative 5y plus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 16. Subtract 4, subtract 4. Negative 5y is greater than or equal to negative 20. Divide both sides by the negative 5. There's a little rule, whenever you divide an inequality by a negative, you have to invert the sign going the other way. So that's going to generate y is less than or equal to 4. Choice B. Slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Slope formula. Now I'm going to do my cute little template to generate the slope. 4, 3, 7, 5. Set up my slope template. A lot of negatives. So negative 2, 6, negative 3, negative 5. So negative 2 minus 6 is a negative 8. Minus minus is going to be 5, positive 5. So 5 minus 3 is 2, so that's going to generate a negative 4. Find the slope. This is mx plus b, so the slope is just 2/3. Find the slope. Vux hoi. So it's a horizontal line whose slope is 0. Be careful, you got to know the vocabulary problems. Find the slope. I could solve it for y, or just do slope equals the opposite of a over b. So the opposite of 5 is negative 5 over b, 2. So negative 5 halves is the slope. Find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when I use yin and yang. So this is my y-intercept. That's my yin. My x-intercept would be this one. It's not asking for the x-intercept. It's just asking for the y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, notice x is equal to 0. So if I got x equals 0, just cover it up. It gives me a little tiny equation. Negative 6y equals 6. Done. Find the x-intercept. You would hide the y value. So 2x equals 6. So you have a little tiny equation. 2x equals 6. 2x equals 6. So x would equal 3. So your other quarter pair would be 3, 0. Find the x-intercept. So y-intercept would be 0, a number. X-intercept would be a number 0. So this is my yin. This is my yang. And this is the one we're looking for. So if we find the y-intercept behind that, that would be 1. That's not what we're looking for, 0, 1. The x-intercept, though, we would hide the y value. So that gives us 2x equals negative 6. Oof. Almost fell for it. It's negative 3, 0. So this is my m, and this is my b. So y equals 2/3 x plus b. Choice D. So it goes through negative 3, 2 with the slope of 4. There's a couple of ways to do it. A nice way, without doing much work, would be, it's got a slope of 4. So it can't be B, can't be D. Get rid of those. Goes through negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, 1, 2. And its slope is up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. So this way I can see that it's going to go through a positive value, but I can't tell if it's 10 or 14. So this method isn't working that well without doing the arithmetic. So what we need is our point slope formula. Point slope formula is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Y minus something is equal to something times x minus something else. So I'm going to take that 2 and plug it in. I'm going to take that 4, plug it in for the slope. Then what's left over is this negative 3, so that's going to be positive 3. Y minus 2 equals 4x plus 12. Add 2, add 2. Y equals 4x plus 14. Choice C. We could find the slope, but notice, they all have the same slope. So if we did our busy work, we'd find out that the slope was 1/2. But what we need now is to choose a point, 5, 3 or 7, 4. So I'm going to choose 5, 3 first. Let's see what happens. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. And we can tell from the answer choices that the slopes are all 1/2. So fill in the blank, y minus something equals 1/2 times x minus something else. This 3 falls down, the 5 goes over, let's see if it's there. Plus 3, no plus 3s up front. So It ain't this one. -3, -5. It looks like it's going to be that choice there. Notice I didn't use the 7, 4 because none of them had a 7 and a 4. So it has to be choice B. They all have different slope, so let's go ahead and calculate the slope using the slope formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1, y sub 2, y sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 1. So that's going to give me a 4 on the top. 1 minus 1 is 1 plus 1. So my slope is going to equal 2. So I can get rid of this one and this one. Let me plot these points. -1, 0. And 1, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice if I connect those dots, the y-intercept is positive. So the y-intercept is positive. This y-intercept is positive. This y-intercept is negative. Has to be choice A.